Okay everybody, in this video we are going to go over how to make your own rosary. So in your packets you all should have received a Ziploc bag with some string inside of it, along with a crucifix, a Marian emblem. You will also have 53 smaller beads. Mine are these, the purple and red beads here. And then you'll also have 6 larger beads, which mine are the these blue hearts here. And these are the supplies that you'll need, along with a pair of scissors, in order to make your rosary. So what you're going to do first is take the string, and one end of the string you're going to tie around the little hole of the crucifix at the top, and then you'll just take the scissors and trim off any extra at the end. Make sure you double or triple knot to make sure that it doesn't come apart super easily. After that, you'll make a knot that is a little bit further up the string, and you will place your first large bead, and then you'll put a knot on the other side of the bead so that it is confined, it's stuck in a smaller space. So here you can see I have a knot at either end of it. This was the first bead I did, so the knots are a little bit further apart than I wanted. Also, you're going to want to make sure that the knots you are making are large enough to keep the bead in place. So you can see I was experimenting. This knot, there we go. This knot here in the middle where my thumb is, you can see is smaller. It's a single knot, whereas these here are double knots. And you can see that the bead goes over that single knot really easily. So, but it does not go over the double knot, so you'll need to make sure that the knots are big enough to keep the bead in place. After that, you'll put on your 3 Hail Mary beads with a knot on either side, and then 1 larger bead, which will be your first mystery bead, and again a knot. After that, you'll take your string and you will put it through the back, the hole at the bottom, and feed it up through this hole at the top. So you'll come in from the back and then go through from the front. And you'll want to make a knot right on the back side of the Marian emblem. Then you'll put your first decade of beads on in a knot, your second mystery bead in a knot, your third decade, excuse me, your second decade, your third mystery bead in a knot, third decade in a knot, your fourth decade bead, or your fourth mystery bead I should say, in a knot, your fourth decade in a knot, your fifth mystery bead in a knot, your fifth decade of Hail Mary beads in a knot, and then you'll bring the string down through here, and then you'll feed that back through the front here. So the string should go through these top 2 holes only once, but it should go through the bottom hole twice. It's a little bit of a tight squeeze, but it fits. And then you'll make a final knot at the back here with the rest of your string to the string that was making this part, and then again you'll cut the ends off. Just make sure when you are making your rosary that again you are making the knot big enough to hold the beads in place. Also make sure that you are double counting the decades before you tie your knots to make sure that you do have exactly 10 beads. You're going to want to make sure that you have the larger beads or different shaped beads for your Our Father and mystery beads. So that way it's easy for you to tell as you're praying your rosary when you get to those single beads that are by themselves, that are not part of the decade. You can place your knots as close together or as far apart as you want. Mine have a little more room between each one, Some people's are a little bit closer together. That's just personal preference. And then in your packets, you also have a sheet at the back of your packet that looks like this. And it has all the instructions that I just gave you on here. The only thing that's missing is the Marian emblem, which would be right here. But other than that, it shows you where to place all of the knots. It has some instructions on it. And as you can see on this one, the beads are a lot closer together. The knots are a lot closer together. So it's whatever you would like to do with it as far as spacing goes. And then once you make your rosary, I encourage you to practice praying the rosary on it. Some of you may or may not already own a rosary that is made out of metal, like the one that I used in previous videos. There's nothing wrong with having more than one rosary. It's nice to be able to keep, one in your room, one in your car or a parent's car. It can be nice, if you carry a purse or a larger wallet, to have it in there or in your pocket. So it's nice to have multiple different rosaries for different important places in your day-to-day life, rather than just having one that you have to take everywhere with you. So this is a really nice way to add to the number of rosaries that you have. And if you don't own a metal rosary yet, this is definitely a fine substitute for a fancier rosary until you're able to get one. And I encourage you to practice praying on your rosary as often as possible.